Hey everybody, we are here at the Ultimate Marvel Movie Marathon. We're up in, where are we? Ontario, California.
Yeah.
We're going to watch all 11 Marvel movies, starting right now, going all the way through Avengers Age of Ultron, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Which, when you say it like that, tomorrow night, it's scary as hell.
Yeah, this is going to be nuts. We're going to try to shoot things in between each movie. We're going to get more and more delirious, more and more tired, haggard, close to death. How many hours is this, Anna?
The whole thing is 27 and a half hours.
That half is the one that gets you. So real quick, what movie, at what point during this marathon are you expecting to get some sleep?
My plan is to make it through the whole thing and sleep during Age of Ultron.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
that's the way to do it, right? Because then you have to see it again.
Exactly.
That's good thinking, Dave. That's why we drove halfway to Vegas.
Thanks.
All right. We'll check in later. We'll see how we're doing. Iron Man, the OG.
Yeah.
The
We made
original.
it through the first Iron Man.
Yes.
So I still feel fine.
I don't know what everyone's so worried about. This is totally easy. You know, watching it again, it's 2008, but I feel like it is like pretty much still, if not the best Marvel movie, certainly at the near the top, right?
And watching it again in context of like having the rest of these movies now, like I'm reminded again of like how the whole thing started.
Yeah.
Because the movie is totally worth what Marvel became. It's a really solid movie.
Yeah, I mean, it completely holds up, which is the nice thing. Like, you expect that the early ones aren't going to, but Iron Man is so enjoyable every time I see it.
It's also cool looking at back when it was just Marvel, before it was Disney, when they just wanted to make this thing happen, and they still had like the little stuff, like of course the end with Samuel L. Jackson, but overall they weren't worried about Infinity Gems. They weren't worried about really, even getting the Avengers. It was just like, let's make this successful.
Yeah, but one of the great things about watching it in this theater with all these people that now know of all the movies that come after and TV was watching people's reaction to Coulson. The gigantic cheer, the roar that came over the crowd when he came on screen was just awesome.
The Easter eggs that are hinting at something that they hadn't even thought of yet that are still in that movie is it's fantastic to watch now. Looking back at it, especially in this crowd of like the most dedicated Marvel fans that you can find.
After watching it though, I'm starting to dread Incredible Hulk a little bit. I know. I'm a little scared, but maybe who knows? Maybe in second look it'll be awesome.
Hopefully they don't pull a fast one and play Ang Lee's the Hulk, and they actually got the right print for the Incredible Hulk.
Okay, 2 movies down. We just saw The Incredible Hulk. What do you think? What's the verdict?
It went by quicker than I was expecting it to go by.
Yeah.
Honestly, it doesn't feel like it's been 2 hours since we talked to you last.
I agree. I would say that was the most redeeming thing for this whole situation. I was like, wow, it got to the fight pretty quickly.
I'm trying real hard to stay excited about this whole marathon thing, so I don't want to talk too much shit about The Incredible Hulk. I forgot what a melodrama that movie is.
Yeah.
Like, there's all those little scenes between like Bruce and Betty where they're standing there at the doorway to get in the bedroom. And they're like, "So, do you have everything you need?" Yeah, I do.
It's so funny because like they got such good actors for this movie. It just, better than Hulk.
Yeah.
But still not great.
William Hurt, I think, like, I feel like the conversation before this movie started, William Hurt was like, "Is this a comic book?" And the guy's like, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "I got it." And then he turned around to leave, and the guy's like, "Well, no, wait, let's talk about the guy." He's like, No. I got it.
I agree. Also, this one had the biggest uncanny valley thing for me because, it seems like 80% of Marvel's budget that year went to Iron Man CGI, and there were 20% went to Hulk. I mean, especially by the end, like the fight between the two of them, I got so bored because it felt like I was watching a PlayStation 3 game, and I don't like to be that guy who's like, it's so video gamey, but this one is particularly bad.
Yeah,
I remember being excited when Louis Leterrier was announced to direct this because he was coming off doing like the Transporter movie.
Right.
Which was like super cool fighting and everything, and this wasn't even staged particularly interesting. This is such a forgettable movie, especially now in the context of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But at the time, I remember liking it pretty all right, and lost my when Robert Downey Jr. comes in at the end, just like
Right.
everybody did in the theater just now, which was super fun.
There are those moments where Hulk gets to be Hulk, but overall, Hulk doesn't really get to be Hulk.
Well, we got 2 movies down.
1/5 of the way there.
Yes, exactly.
It's called.
I guess, gosh, is it Iron Man 2 next?
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, gosh.
I think it's...
You know what? I'm rooting to like Iron Man 2 better than I did 6-7 years ago whenever it came out.
I feel like I'm going to feel the exact same way because in the beginning of this Hulk movie, like when he was still in like Brazil, I was like, this movie isn't as bad as I remember.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was like, nope, this is exactly as bad as I remember.
So
I don't think that your wish is going to come true, but you know, we'll have to wait and find out, and I'm hoping to sleep through it still.
let's find out. 3 movies.
3 down.
3 movies in. And there are now 4 of us. Because Cruz finally showed up.
We found a Cruz!
Careful.
I took a little bit of a nap.
It is now 1:30 a.m. We've watched 3 consecutive movies.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I think I was right about Iron Man 2. It's not as bad as we remember.
You were totally right. I was so surprised by that.
I remember the movie not making any sense, and it did. It made sense.
It did.
Yeah.
It wasn't
it made
that
sense.
good, but it made sense.
The reason I really liked it this time was now knowing about Gary Shandling's character being Hydra, it felt like the entire movie was surrounded around a giant Hydra plot to get the Iron Man costume.
Well, and that is, I think, what makes it more enjoyable now in context of the rest of the MCU, because
Yeah.
this movie was the first one that actually set up future movies.
Yeah.
And like at the time watching it, we were like, what are you doing? Looking back at it now, we can sort of appreciate it in a different light, and it's a fun movie.
The hallway fight scene where she kicks everyone's ass is the thing I remembered
Yes.
from the
Yeah.
movie.
I think it had some memorable action scenes. The set piece at the end with all the drones was really cool. The electric whips was really cool, and the Monaco thing was really cool. But I do think Iron Man 2 is also the turning point where you can see Marvel, like they are setting up future movies, but they're taking a bigger swing too, like because the budget clearly went up, the effects clearly went up.
We were only like 2 movies in before this, and the theater's already turned into some strange medieval bartering society where people are like, do you want an Iron Man 3 poster? Do you have a toothbrush? It's super weird.
But it's still nice to see how excited everyone is getting for sometimes strange things, often Coulson.
Every time Coulson comes on screen, everybody goes nuts. It's amazing.
I thought about that the whole time. I was like, they should change it from MCU to the CCU because Coulson clearly is the center of this universe.
Well, we'll see how much clapping Coulson gets in Thor.
Yeah.
Going to be in New Mexico. So we got to go do that here in a few minutes, and I got to wander around and wake up a little bit before we go into movie number 4 at 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Feeling strong.
Thor! We saw it.
We did.
Well,
4
some of
movies
us were
down.
awake through it.
I could barely keep my eyes open through most of it, but I actually wasn't sleeping, which
That's
was
amazing.
kind of the worst.
I was awake through most of it, except through the like real boring Jane Thor talk.
You know what it was? It was the scene where he was drawing the tree of life, and I was like, I'm out.
Hit a point where I was like, I really kind of wish I was sleeping, and it was somewhere around there.
I gotta be honest,
like
I love this movie.
Yeah.
Of the 4 we've watched so far, this is my second favorite after Iron Man.
Sure.
Because it's so rewatchable, because it's just
It's
like
fun.
tight and fun,
Yeah.
and like Loki's rad.
My only beef with it is there are no stakes whatsoever. Thor
stakes-
saves a planet full of assholes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do really like it, but I feel like I have the same opinion of it this time as I've always had, which is I love everything in Asgard, and everything on Earth just is kind of like meh. And Jane, to me, I love Natalie Portman, but I think she's like the worst written character, other than maybe Pepper Potts in the Marvel universe.
The first Pepper gets better. The first Iron Man and the first Jane have the same. Well, Jane in the second one has the same problem too. But they're like smart, competent women, and then all of a sudden it's I'm a little girl.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of drives me nuts.
For me, I always love the humor of this one. Like, I love when he throws down the coffee cup. You know, I love there's just so much in this movie that makes me happy.
It's a very charming movie. It's a
Yeah.
very charming movie. 3:45 in the morning is not a charming time.
Yes, 3:45 in the morning is like dauntingly awful, but it's just going to get worse. So,
Yeah.
like, 2 in the afternoon, which should be fine, is not going to be fine.
It's going to be rough.
4 down, 7 to go.
Oh my God.
Captain America coming up next. We're out. All right, it is 6 a.m. It is officially tomorrow. We are through Captain America, the first Avenger. That's 5, count them, 5 movies down.
Yeah.
Not even halfway through.
Haven't slept yet.
This is the one that broke me. Last 20 minutes.
You were
I
out.
fell asleep.
You were pretty hardcore out for the last little bit. I caught a second win going into this one.
I had been having a moment to
You're totally awake and functioning too. It's amazing.
I got a second win at the beginning of it, and it's still one of my favorites, especially of Phase 1, but it's too f***ing long.
I said before we went into this that I have a really big soft spot for this movie.
Yeah.
And it has been reaffirmed, my soft spot. I love Joe Johnston's aesthetic, that Rocketeer, mid-century kind of look. I love that. The Star Spangled Man with a Plan is so much fun. And then Chris Evans is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he's so, and Captain America's the best. He's just the best.
For me, it's Peggy Carter. That's why I think I like this one so much. And it's a great underdog story, but she's cool, and I love that she has her own show and all that stuff.
She got a Coulson-esque cheer when she came on screen for the first time, so that was good.
She deserves it.
Yeah, she earned it, I think.
The look of the Red Skull, there's just always something slightly off about it to me.
Yeah, well, I actually kind of like it because it's got that. It looks like a rubber mask. It really does.
It does.
But I don't mind it in the context of the rest of the movie because the whole. This is the most cartoonish of all of the. It's the most comic booky of all of the Marvel films, and that's what I really love about it.
But I don't want it to look as rubber masky. But then again, I don't want it to look totally gruesome either. So
you want to
I guess I don't know what I want.
Hanging meat. From the...
Yes, of course.
All right. Well, we got the Avengers coming up next, halfway point, and this is where it really is starting to speed up too. I think because the movies are all going to get better.
I'm so excited for Iron Man 3. I totally forgot that existed. Iron Man 3 is rad.
Shane Black at Christmas, man. What else do you want?
Oh, it's going to be great. I totally forgot. We were going to watch that one.
So much exciting to come.
There's only one movie between us and that movie, so we'll check in with that later.
Yes.
Avengers coming up next. 5 down. Let's go. Phase 1 is complete.
Yes. I love they kept on talking about Phase 2 all through this movie.
Yeah.
What is Phase 2? Well, it's another Iron Man movie, another Thor movie, another Captain America movie. We've watched 6 movies now.
That makes us more than halfway through.
Avengers is still good, guys.
Avengers is awesome.
There's not really much to say about Avengers because it's still just a boatload of fun.
It's like one of my favorite movies, and I think I strategically slept at the right time. I didn't mean to. My body did it. Coulson died, slept, woke up right as the Battle of New York started.
Yeah.
It's perfect timing.
Coulson didn't really die, so it's not really a spoiler.
It's true. And, after all these times watching it, Hulk still steals the show.
Watching them back to back, the world does seem a lot more intertwined than I would watch them like a year to a year to year. I'd be sort of like, oh yeah, that kind of was like this, and the way you watch it, you're like, wow, they really connected everything in a really cool way.
Well, and especially starting with Iron Man and going to Incredible Hulk, which weren't really that connected.
Yeah.
Like, they ramp up the whole interconnected universe really quickly and really effectively. Cruz, you okay?
Yeah.
And actually, looking at them now up to Avengers, Incredible Hulk is so the odd man out. It's the only one that does not feel like it's part of the same universe as everything else.
Yeah.
So we're moving into Phase 2. We got Iron Man 3 coming up next. How are we feeling? We're gonna make it?
It's
Our
9
posture
a.m.
is worse than it was the last time we talked.
I got tiny nap pockets within that movie, so...
It smells in there.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bad.
A little bit of a funk.
I thought that I would sleep through movies, but now it's like it's pockets. I think it's going to be nothing but power naps through this entire experience.
Starting to get a little punchy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to go in and watch one more movie. And we're going to come out. We're going to talk about that movie. Iron Man 3 coming up next, moving in Phase 2. Almost done.
Remember Iron Man 3.
Yeah, almost done, right.
We're almost
Is Iron
done.
Man 3 the one where there's like 100 Iron Man?
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
That was Iron Man 3.
Yes.
Well, how many is that? 7?
7.
7 down, 4 more to go. We've got Thor, Dark World coming up next. Cap 2, Winter Soldier after that, then Guardians, and then Age of Ultron.
I'm so bummed out because I really like this movie, and this is the one I slept most through.
You were
I was out.
more or less drooling.
Yeah,
it was something like this.
Yeah.
I was awake for all of the good parts of this movie, and I think it is my favorite Iron Man movie.
It's so
That's how I
good.
felt when I saw it.
And you got to do some home aloning in this one, which is always fun.
Yeah, that's
Right.
my favorite part, is taking the armors away from him, and then at the end for the audience being like, and now we're going to give you every single armor ever.
Yes.
I do
that
really
was finally
disagree
nice.
with the decision to blow him up. I mean, you literally just saved the president with all these suits.
Yeah.
Like, just be cool about it from now on. How about that?
I feel-
They're useful.
Right, but like he's always into reinventing the stuff and making it better because like that's why he's collecting all the stuff because he's just going to go back and make better ones,
Still,
right?
like,
That's what he does.
Guy Pearce might still be kicking.
Right.
I
He's
just
gonna
feel like it
collect-
was premature.
There's just one thing I wanted to see. When the Mark 42 armor gets hit by the Mack truck and like explodes,
yeah, that's
and
a
you
good
don't know
one.
he's not in it,
Yeah.
that's my favorite part of the movie. I totally missed it.
You were
So
saying-
bummed out.
How are we feeling, everybody? We got 4 more movies. Are we going to make it?
I was strangely awake for that
Look,
one.
4 more movies.
Yeah, I'm
that's
starting to just like be. It's starting to just be daytime. For
That's
me.
pretty much just 9 hours.
I've done it
That's
before.
all it is 9
It's
hours.
not
Just a
like
work
I haven't
day.
done it before.
Yeah. We're going to be fine.
It's great.
Okay.
Well,
How many we have
Thor
left now?
2,
Thor
The Dark
2,
World,
The Dark
coming right up.
World.
Or actually, it's just Thor, The Dark World, right? It's
yeah,
not
it's just
Thor 2.
Thor: The Dark
World,
World.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yay,
Apologies.
more Jane.
The Dark World.
Ah.
The Dark World. To be 8 movies into an 11-movie marathon.
Yes.
That's a nice feeling, actually.
I'm feeling very awake, and Winter Soldier is the one that I know the best. So I wish I could sleep through parts of it. Not because it's bad, but it's like I just know it so well. But Thor: The Dark World, I think it's a worse rap than it deserves. It's not the best of the Marvel movies, but it's
No.
not really that bad. And I think the design of the Dark Elves is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated was Jane and her stupid Asgardian dress.
You're going to hate Jane no matter what.
stupid.
though.
Natalie Portman is like a Mila Kunis. Like, I feel like both of them are actually really great actresses in contemporary pieces.
Right.
And once you
Right.
put them in any like fantasy or period, they just never feel like they're supposed to be there.
I
Which
agree with
kind
that.
of works for Jane, but
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah.
You know, I think where Thor: Dark World works, where though Iron Man 2, I think we discovered isn't as bad as I think a lot of us felt like. I think where it is it's like tight. It's not like overtly long. Like you were talking about, Iron Man 2 is like 15 minutes or so too long, and at least it doesn't outstay its welcome. It's just like it's an action movie. It's got its funny moments.
Yeah, and there was a ton of really awesome Loki shit, and Loki's the best.
Then there's that weird part where it kind of becomes Star Wars and Asgard.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And I think that it also doesn't get enough credit because I really think it paved the way for Guardians a
Yeah.
little bit too. Because it got a bunch of fantasy elements and a bunch of like crazy space, otherworldly shit going in, and it sort of eased us into that. And then Guardians is just way out there. Retrospectively, it should probably get a little more credit for that than it does.
Just kept on happening to me. Though. I keep on sleeping during the one little thing I wanted to see. Like I missed the one thing in Iron Man 3, and in this one I missed the Chris Evans cameo.
Yeah.
That's the
I
one
did
thing I
too.
wanted to see, and I was
That's a good
sleeping.
moment.
All right, well, we got 2 more movies before Age of Ultron. Cap 2, Guardians, Age of Ultron, and then we're out. I feel good, actually. I don't
too.
feel nearly as like burnt and as I thought I would.
Yeah. See, and you guys thought you'd see us slowly deteriorate throughout it,
No.
but clearly that's not happening.
Nine down.
Ha!
2 more to go.
It's still going.
Still going. Happily, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is still a really, really awesome movie.
Yeah, just
best.
just as
It's
good as
so
I remember it.
Yeah, it doesn't stop being good either because I've watched
Yeah.
it like a bunch.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because Guardians is the easiest one to like slide right into home base because it's just so watchable, so fun, so light. And then Age of Ultron.
I really don't have a whole lot to say
Yeah.
about Winter Soldier. I mean,
No,
it was
still awesome.
a blast, and I think it's fun having Winter Soldier and Guardians to sort of like to sort of hit the home stretch in because
Yeah.
they're such fun movies.
Totally.
I really think that was like Marvel's best year too, with those two coming out in the same year.
2 more.
Dude,
2 more.
two
And
more.
honestly, the way that I'm thinking about it, it's really just 1 more
Yeah.
because then we haven't seen Ultron yet.
True.
So
Exactly.
I just got to watch Guardians one more time, and then we can watch Ultron. Well, that sounds fair.
Yeah.
Hey.
Let's go do that.
Let's go do it
Right
Let's
now.
go.
Here we go.
This is it.
10 down, one last one to go. Age of Ultron is all we got left.
I think personally, we finished the marathon.
Yeah.
The marathon's over. Now we're just gonna watch a movie.
Now we've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, we can watch the movie now that we've seen those other 10.
Yeah. If anyone was feeling sleepy, Guardians of the Galaxy was the perfect thing to get you up.
Yeah.
And
I
I'll
love
tell you
that movie.
Everybody in there is so punch drunk at this point that they were like clapping along with all the songs, and they were like, it was almost like it had a Rocky Horror kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because there were people like quoting the movie along with it.
My favorite is the guy who, if we were in like medieval times, he would be the court jester because he just loves yelling.
People are in there having a really good time.
Yeah.
Which makes the whole thing way more bearable.
Yes,
Totally.
definitely. And Guardians is amazing.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
it.
Guardians is great. If you don't know that because you haven't seen it, there's something wrong with you.
You know,
That'd be weird.
How have you not seen it? Whoever you are that hasn't seen it.
Outside of that, let's go watch Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
We got cups of coffee, we got 3D glasses, we got medals. I'm ready to go for Age of Ultron.
Yeah, totally.
Do it.
Now you're in 3D.
Guys, we did it.
Yeah.
We did it. 11 movies in 27 and a half, 28 hours, whatever it is.
27 and a half hours, yeah.
I don't think any of us slept through an entire movie. I think
No.
we all saw at least sections of every single one.
Oh, definitely. Age of Ultron.
Wow.
Man, it's a big movie, right?
Yeah.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I don't know necessarily if I'm going to rewatch it over and over like the first one, but I enjoyed how big and superhero-full it was.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way. I also absolutely loved it. It's not nearly as rewatchable as the first one, and maybe the reason I love it this much is because I'm a big fan of the comics and certain characters in the comics that were in this, but I loved it.
I do think there's something to that rewatchable thing that you guys are talking about, and I think a lot of that is the charm of this team up is mostly gone.
Yeah.
And so it's living on, it's trading on the actual plot of the film and the nuts and bolts of the film, and there's none of the the grandeur of this is the first time they've all been together on screen. That's gone.
Yeah.
And so then, and the movie was a little darker, just in general.
Yeah.
If there's one critique I had of it, it was too long, and it was obvious where they could have cut.
Totally.
I don't disagree with that at all.
I would say I'm the odd man out. I kind of give it like a B minus, like a B. I think it's good. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's definitely worth watching, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's kind of clunky. I think the magic's kind of gone. I think they waste a lot of time on plot points that don't need to be there. It feels a little bit phoned into me, and it feels a little bit like there are these really, really, really great moments, but as a whole, the movie sort of feels a little bit like just fan service.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Joss Whedon was like, this is the last one I'm going to do. I want to put every single thing I love about the Avengers and Marvel in this movie, and it just got too full.
And it's a combination of that, Joss Whedon saying this is my last one and I'm going to do that, versus Joss Whedon saying, well, this is my last one, I'm done. The thing that I do think about this is by the time we get to Infinity War, maybe sooner, I think we're going to look more kindly at this one. It's going to suffer in the short term from that Iron Man 2 syndrome a little bit.
And that was the biggest thing to me, is that like where it kind of suffered as a movie for me, where it excites me is how it changes the universe as a whole. Because I think, without spoiling anything, I think some really, really big changes happened in it and will have ramifications in all of the movies going forward.
But I do think if you are a comic book fan, there are some extra things that you get out of it, but nothing is taken away if you're not a comic book fan.
Ultron was way funnier than I expected.
Which
and
honestly
I liked it.
threw me a little bit
loved
for him
it.
as a character, because he was I couldn't quite get a handle on him, and I will say Ultron was actually one of my disappointments in the movie. Because like he was so threatening and he was so scary, and James Spader's got that like syrupy evil voice going on, and I was all excited about that. And ultimately, he wasn't that big a deal.
I love the comedy that James Spader brought to Ultron, and I think James Spader did a really good job with what he was given. But to me, because it was a slightly darker movie, and because Ultron is such a big deal, he just didn't feel scary to me at all.
He was just this mustache twirling robot for the most part.
But the stakes were so much higher than the first one too. I mean,
But were they?
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
Then the first
100%,
Avengers.
100%.
I disagree.
I totally disagree.
I see. I can't really, without giving away what happens in the movie, but clearly, if you think about what he was trying to accomplish, it was far
But
worse
that's the problem.
than the first one.
I think that it's intellectually, like, the idea of what he's doing, the stakes are higher, but emotionally the stakes aren't actually higher.
I also think maybe the reason that Anna and I maybe slightly like it more is because we're giant Joss Whedon fans, and this one to me is far more Whedon-esque in every way, especially how the villain is funny but also scary, which is a big Joss Whedon thing he did in Buffy and Angel all the time. You know what I truly felt while watching this? I felt like this was more like a season of a TV show with the best special effects you'll ever see. Like, he packed so much story and so much people just chatting about stuff that was sometimes very inconsequential. I felt like TV Joss came out more in this one. And for me, I want to watch the hour longer cut. I actually want to see more of it.
I would have happily given up some Hawkeye business just for 30 seconds of explanation of what the spirit water is and where they are. That was like, so there were a couple of things that he spent too much time with, and there were a couple of things that he just didn't explain at all. And so and clunky, I think, is the right word.
It's the same problem I felt that Serenity had, in that, like, I think Joss Whedon is amazing at like when he picks one thing to focus on, he drills so deep into it that it's really smart. He was trying to do so much with this that he didn't cover AI that well. He didn't cover, like, the who did it, how it's our responsibility that well. He didn't cover the team that well. It was just all over the place.
All that said, though,
Still fun.
Still fun. Still super fun. Just because I expected more of it, I'm probably with you in the B- to B range. And it was disappointing in a way. Not by much, but I was expecting too much. I came in a little hot. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of this marathon.
Well, it's so funny because like they bothered to do so much evolution of characters. Like, characters actually got to grow, which really hasn't happened in a lot of the other movies. I feel like, but. You know, but why? Why did they all need to grow so much in this one?
I'll put it like this. I think I liked this one more than I expected to actually like it. That being said, I feel like on second watch, it'll feel more arduous to watch than the first one. That's just so brisk.
The first one, the first Avengers, I couldn't wait to watch it again.
Yeah.
This one, I'm in no rush to watch it again. I don't want to revisit this movie. I want to talk about where we're going from here.
It's a lot of a setup movie. It's a big setup movie for like phase 3.
All right, guys, we did it.
We did it.
11 movies. That was stupid in a lot of ways, including the fun ways. Thanks for being here, guys. And thanks to the fans that showed up. George and Javier and Victor, they were cool guys. They were here like the whole time.
And Alfredo.
Alfredo. So we had a lot of fun with those guys too.
Let's get ready for the next marathon. What do we do next, guys?
I'll do Star Wars. There's not 11 Star Wars movies, so I'll do Star Wars.
Right, but
we
like,
might just do that at my place.
But not. Yeah, I was gonna say not in Ontario.
We're not coming back to Ontario Mills for the
slumber party at Clint.
But let us know what marathon you guys have on deck, and if you did the marathon on your own, because you might have. Thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe. Stick around for more Cinefix awesomeness on Cinefix because you subscribed just now when I asked you to. Thanks a lot, guys. We're gonna go assemble in our own separate cars on the way home.